Hello again and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be making a Bridgerton inspired Regency gown. So my original concept for this project happened way back at like Thanksgiving, and it was not intended to be a Bridgerton project because Bridgerton wasn't out yet. So I originally just wanted to make it like a snow kind of theme. I was gonna do snowflake embroidery and tons of other stuff, but the fabric I got just turned out to be the exact color of all of Daphne Bridgerton's outfits. So we leaned into it. I added more sequins than I was planning on, and I chose a red wig. So this isn't perfectly the Bridgerton vibe. I don't have any of that fancy embroidered fabric that they use, but I'm really proud of how it came out, and I'm excited for you guys to see. I personally have not finished Bridgerton. It is not my favorite, but I do like the costumes. Despite, don't get me started on the corset scenes. Like, it's so dumb. Just don't get me started. But I really like the costumes of the show regardless of that, and regardless of Lady Featherington's dresses. Don't get me started on those either. So I thought that I would make a sparkly Regency dress so that I can also be a pretty princess. If you like this video, please make sure to like and subscribe if you would like to see more. I also want to do more historical costuming on this channel, so if you have any suggestions for periods, please let me know in the comments down below. And let's get started. Alright, so here's the fabric that I will be using for this project. It is just a nice light blue, and it has a little ribbing detail, which the camera does not pick up very well. And the first step is, of course, to cut out our pattern. I am using a pattern from Sense and Sensibility Patterns, which I will have linked below. And I highly recommend this pattern if you are looking for a Regency pattern. And the first thing is just laying out all the pattern pieces to make sure they fit. And then we can start pinning them down and cutting them out. Once everything is all nice and cut out, we can start off by pinning the bodice together. And then those are getting stitched together with just a simple straight seam. I'm using the edge of my sewing machine foot as my seam allowance. And then once everything was done and the seams were clipped, everything got ironed nice and flat. I'm actually very proud of how specifically these back seams turned out. I just love how flat they lay and how nice that detail is. And then we can start deciding on embellishments. So I'm using these seed beads and these pearls, as well as this pack of sequins, which I'm not gonna lie to you, was from the Target dollar section. Trying to figure out what kind of snowflake motif I want to do across the neckline, and I don't know if I want to use these sequins, which are white but are appearing iridescent. They were looking very green on top of the black. So I've laid out a snowflake, and I don't know exactly how I want to do this. I do like the pearls a lot. Maybe I'll use them as like the center snowflake and just do these elsewhere, because I'm worried too many pearls will be A, hard to work with, and B, too three-dimensional, and it might look a little strange considering how flat the sequins are. Oop, and now everything is rolling. I do have these bluish seed beads, which are a much closer color, so I might do those either in the center of the sequins or to add more detail to the snowflakes. I'm not 100% set on what I want to do, and I'm having a hard time because this little thing is pretty big, so I don't want to do them completely across the neckline because I have a feeling that it will be too big and too much. So I might alternate these with similar snowflake designs of these seed beads, or I might not use the pearls at all and just stick with these and the seed beads. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Here's one of those sequins just laid on top of the fabric. Then we are stitching our shoulder seams, so then we can attach the lining and then we can get embellishing. I wanted to attach the lining before embellishing to make sure that I was not accidentally putting any sequins or anything where there would eventually be a seam. Once that is done, all of the curves are clipped. Alright, so I got my bodice all sewn together with the lining attached, and I pinned the lining in place so that when I iron it, I have this little lip of the right side and the lining is tucked nice and away so that it's not peeking out from the right side. And everything is ironed flat. I'm also reinforcing it with several more pins to make sure everything stays in place until I can stitch it down more securely. Alright, so I've got my stays and my chemise on. Ignore the fact that the chemise is definitely from a different period, but we're rolling with it anyway. And I'm pretty proud of how this is looking. The back is not quite done, but it's getting there, and I like the embellishments. They're subtle yet still visible, and yeah, I'm liking the way it sits. The shoulder seams are where they should be. Everything seems good. It is sleeve time now. Alright, so I just finished up my 2 sleeves. I did them before sewing them on because they're going to be gathered, and I thought it would be difficult. I decided to just go with a random scatter pattern because of the gathering. I figured since they're pretty small, if I tried to do the snowflake designs, they would get lost very easily. So I just went with maximum sparkle, and I did this while watching TV, which is why it was not filmed. So for the sleeves, I'm starting out with just gathering the bottom so that it can be the correct length to attach to the sleeve band. And I'm just doing this with a running stitch. I prefer gathering by hand instead of gathering by machine, so that is the method that we are going with. And then once again, those are getting stitched with the same seam allowance and the same everything else. It's normal straight stitch. And then once that is done, sleeve bands were ironed flat. I am stitching up the sides of the sleeve and down to the sleeve band so that it is actually sleeve shaped and no longer flat. And then to finish off the sleeve band, I folded it up and under and am just whip stitching it down. I am being very careful to only pick up a few threads and whenever possible to only be stitching through the seam allowance so that there's no visible top stitching on the sleeve once I'm done. And then just like the bottom of the sleeve, the tops of the sleeve get gathered down and pinned into the bodice. And then I'm finishing that off the same way finished off the sleeve band. I'm pulling the lining over the seam allowance, pinning it, and then stitching it down so that it is nice and covered and all the raw edges are tucked away. Wow, my sleeves are attached and they look so cute. I am loving this. It's looking very Daphne Bridgerton, which was not intended, but the color is very much something that she would wear. So I guess it's perfect in that way. I think my sleeve bands are a little loose, so I might just like add a little dart to make them fit my arms a little more. But overall, I'm very happy with it so far. And I guess it's time for the skirt, which I'm not particularly looking forward to dealing with because I have to iron it first, and I hate ironing with a passion. But it's so cute. I'm very happy. And then we can seam our skirt panels together. And then we can gather the bottom of the bodice around the cup area as well as the back of the skirt. I am just pinning the skirt to the front fabric. I am not pinning it to the lining so that as we did with the sleeves, the lining can be pulled down and cover the raw edges. And then that just gets sewn on with another simple whip stitch. Now we can pick out trim. So here I am going through my box of trims, which contains a lot of remnants that I probably should just get rid of because they're not good for much. So we're gonna go hunt for some white lace for the waistline as well as the hem. Wanted to add a line of lace around the hem, which I don't know if I have enough of any single lace to do that. This one I definitely do not, and it's also a little too thick. I think I wanted something more delicate. This one I may have enough. I don't know how much I like the fact that it's gathered. I kind of wish it would lay flat instead, but this one is also gathered and also slightly too thick. So I think I need new lace. I don't have, this one lays flat and could be fun. I haven't decided yet. This one isn't exactly what I was thinking across the bodice, but if I just cut it in half, that's a lot closer to what I was thinking for that section around the waist seam. And this I have a lot of, so this one I think is the winner. It's slightly off-white, which I don't know how well you can see that, but since it's not going to be near anything else white, I think that will be fine. And I can also embellish it with some sequins or whatever else. So, and then that lace gets stitched down. I'm stitching it as invisibly as possible and just making sure it is laying nice and flat against the dress. To make it a little more interesting, I am adding some pearl beads in those little holes in the center that I mentioned before. And I really liked this effect. I was having a hard time incorporating the pearls even though I really wanted to, and this ended up just being the perfect place to do it because they add a good amount of sparkle and dimension without getting in the way. And then for the hem, I am hand stitching it down because, once again, no visible top stitching on my historical garments. and then more lace gets added to the bottom. And that is it. Here's the final dress. I hope you like it. Please ignore my wig slipping off. If you would like more historical costuming videos from me, please let me know down in the comments, and give this video a like if you liked it, and subscribe if you'd like to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Okay, bye!